Welcome to the ultimate cold-blooded challenge. I'll be spending 100 days on the icy, unforgiving terrain of Antarctica. I'm not just trying to survive, I'm taking on all the bosses that the map has to offer. And to make things even more interesting, I'll be doing it all with Shiny Dinos by my side. Let's see if I can handle the heat on the coldest place on Earth. Ready, set, Ark. I wake up on the beach. I set out on my monumental stone collecting quest, gathering those precious resources. I summon my inner strength and deliver a mighty punch to gather some wood. I take a pause and take in the beauty of the map. I'm mesmerized by the breathtaking landscapes. It's almost too easy to get lost in the awe-inspiring scenery. A massive whale carcass appears in my path. I can't resist the allure of scavenging from this rotting behemoth. With a mix of disgust and determination, I harvest the resources. Rotting meat, oil, and keratin. All very valuable treasures. But I am not just a survivor. I am a fashionista. The fashion gods of Ark surely smile upon my stylish endeavours. As I ponder how to get to this drop, a glimmer catches my eye. With only my stone tools, I beat the crystal frantically for just a few pieces. But that is all I need to be able to craft an awesome spyglass. A Dilophosaur was standing guard nearby. A battle ensues. I was victorious and I gathered my prize. Undeterred by the dangers, I gather some metal. The heat of the campfire warms my face as I cook that succulent dillo meat. But no rest for the wicked as I craft my first narcotic. Well, all three of them. I found a camel, just peacefully wandering on the beach. I engage in a rather intimate relationship by shoving some berries where the sun doesn't shine. Now, is there any more fitting name for this camel than Toe? My camel Toe and I farm some more sleepy berries to make some more drugs. I devise a plan to capture a pteranodon. One shot and he's down. My trapping skills shine as I successfully secure my airborne prize. Throw spears with precision aim and harvest the precious hide. As the sun sets on this eventful day, I reflect upon my accomplishments. I found some wild crops, foundations have been laid, and a starter base takes shape. And so, my first day in Ark comes to a close. But fear not, there are 99 more days of adventure yet to come. I woke up the next morning and discovered that my camel Toe, wait, no, not that kind of camel Toe. I just meant my trusty dinosaur companion, Camel Toe. Anyway, this dino only seems to gather narco berries. Nice. I gathered all sorts of resources and put my building skills to the test. I managed to make a ceiling to protect myself from the elements, although I have to admit the pattern mismatch triggered me a little bit. I should have changed it and I've got no idea why I didn't. Suddenly, I spotted a not so friendly neighbour nearby. So I did what any self-respecting survivor would do. I ran for my life. But before I made my daring escape, I took down this ginormous moth. Who knew it would provide me with this much chitin and silk? Revenge is sweet, my friends, especially when it is served with a side of ichthyornish justice. Take that, you pesky pickpockets. Feeling victorious, I decided to level up my loot game. I built a ramp up to where the good stuff spawns, and even crafted a forge. And just when I thought my luck was turning around, I spotted a Carno lurking nearby. Needless to say, I bolted back home. On the bright side, I managed to snag some better armor during my adventure. And what's the first thing you do when you get your upgraded gear? You paint it purple, of course. Stylish and deadly, that's how I roll. With my ambitions growing, I constructed a smithy and a metal pickaxe. It was time to become a true metal harvesting machine. As the metal smelted away, I also whipped up a preserving bin and some spark powder to keep my spoils fresh, because no self-respecting survivor wants to eat spoiled dinosaur meat. Am I right? My newfound love for loot got the best of me. I couldn't resist taking everything I could find. I became a loot goblin, sprinting like I was in a slow-motion Baywatch scene, desperate to make it back home with my ill-gotten gains. Finally, I had enough resources to craft a mighty metal hatchet and an upgraded crossbow. I mean, who needs regular tools when you can have the deluxe supercharged versions, right? So the morning was upon me, and I couldn't resist giving my crossbow another upgrade. And I also stocked up on some trank arrows. My trusty psychic Cameltoe and I embarked on a crystal gathering adventure. Little did we know, another pesky Dillo had it out for us. But hey, no worries, we battled it blindly and triumphantly harvested its skin. On my way, I decided to swing by the dead whale. I thought it would be a great idea to put Cameltoe inside a ball for safekeeping. But boy oh boy did I stumble across an epic fail of epic proportions. I encountered a high-level, unbowlerable paleo parasaur. Turns out, they don't mess around, and they are as aggressive as ever. They chased me like I owed them dino money. I managed to knock the beast out and decided to tame it. I ran back home, grabbed some veggies from my preserving bin and fed them all to my unconscious buddy. While I waited for my new companion to wake up, I made her a saddle. Finally, she was all mine. I hopped on her back ready to conquer the Ark, but not before making a quick detour to assert my dominance. My murder spree continued, this time with a turtle in my sights. I decided it was time to put my new friend in a ball for safety. Because guess what? Beavers. I managed to tranquilize a few of the furry creatures, but boy did they hold a grudge. They all came after me like I was the last slice of pizza. Thankfully, I had Pinky, my trusty parasaur, by my side. She took care of the beaver brigade. But then disaster struck. I returned to find a raptor munching on my hard-earned beaver spoils. I had to avenge my fallen comrades. I engaged in an epic battle against a mountain lion, all the while failing to notice that my poor Cameltoe was under attack. Rest in peace, my brave dino friend. You shall be remembered. Gamer K named my warrior parasaur Pinky.
Could name him Pinky, like Pinky in the Brain.
Together, we gathered more hide, raided the beavers' dams, since they didn't need those goodies anyway, and farmed every bush in sight on our way home. Oh, and I made sure to grab some chitin and pearls too. You know, the essentials for a well-rounded survivor. I couldn't resist my addiction to crafting drugs. As the night approached, I decided to make one last trip to the loot drop, because who needs sleep when there is loot to be plundered? I come across a high-leveled Cameltoe. I crafted a reusable grapple and climbed the massive cliff near my base. I had a blast dancing around with a Doedicurus, shooting tranks at it while trying to avoid these pesky bitey ants. Finally, I managed to knock out the dino and gathered some veggies nearby. As I looked around, a pteranodon caught my eye. It wasn't the highest level, but I figured it would do. The sneaky little thing tried to hide in a bush, but I had a trick up my sleeve. I bowlered it and brought it down like a pro. While waiting for both creatures to tame, I decided to brush up on my whipping skills. Finally, the pteranodon woke up, and I quickly saddled it up, eager to welcome the newest member of my Quack Pack. Yes, that is what I call my dinosaur buddies. With wings on my side, the world felt like my playground. I had my sights set on a shiny pink loot crate, leading a parade of dangerous dinos right off the edge, only to realize I wasn't even a high enough level to open it. Oops. Just as I stood there disappointed, a majestic, high-level pteranodon flew right in front of me. My trusty crossbow knocked it out with a single shot. I tracked down a low-level Bronto, and well, let's just say it became the generous source of prime meat. Don't worry, I stripped the saddle off my old model and adorned my new PT with it once it was tamed. Now I had some wings, I decided it was time to find a new home on a warmer island. With smithies and a doad saddle in hand, I set up shop and immediately started farming some stone. Now let me tell you, gathering those trees by hand was quite the workout. But I persevered and crafted some sturdy stone foundations. It was a race against time, but I worked through the night to create a circular base. I didn't want to be a basic box bitch for yet another 100 days challenge. I woke up all groggy and decided it was time to go treasure hunting. Little did I know, my precious loot was guarded by a gang of lions. And let me tell you, those lions were no joke. They bit harder than a teething toddler on a sugar rush. I barely made it out of there with my life intact, let alone the loot. I was cruising around trying to regain some stamina, when out of nowhere I spotted a high-level snow leopard. Now, in a moment of sheer genius, or perhaps out of foolishness, I decided to jump off my trusty PT and take a leap of faith. And guess what? I landed right into the gaping jaws of the snow leopard. Talk about a faceplant fail. I respawned back at base and used some mystical gravestone power to reclaim my lost possessions. As I returned to my faithful steed, the gaming universe had yet another surprise waiting for me. An ambush! This time it was a fearsome Managama. I tried my best to save my poor PT, but alas, it did not survive the encounter. Heartbroken, I balled up my one remaining PT, refusing to let it meet the same fate. Whilst I sat there freezing my virtual buns off, I had to come up with a plan to tame that snow leopard. So there I was, hanging off the side of a cliff like a frozen popsicle, shooting tranquilizer arrows at this beautiful beast. Eventually, I knocked it out and managed to pull myself up, but I was in dire straits. My health was so low I was practically turning into an ice cube. Desperate to warm up, I scrambled to gather some resources for a campfire. Even with a broken leg, I miraculously lit that fire. But guess what? It wasn't enough to thaw my frozen self. And in my futile attempt to craft a torch for extra warmth, I tragically succumbed to the cruel clutches of the cold. I crafted some basic fur to keep myself cozy. Obviously, I painted it purple because, well, fashion matters, even in the face of danger. In the mountains, I stumbled across a lonely sheep, which was the perfect snack for my soon-to-be tamed snow leopard. But, of course, there had to be more challenges. The snow leopard was guarded by a pack of wolves and a couple of menacing daedons. Using my quick thinking, I lured the wolves into the water and snuck round the other side. I managed to feed my unconscious snow leopard and voila, I had a new furry friend. Back at my humble base, I couldn't help but admire the beauty of my snow leopard companion. I named him Jon Snow Leopard, because Game of Thrones references never get old. And boy was he a talent. He could climb like a furry Spider-Man and took me straight to a gold mine of metal resources. Jon Snow and I were up early for the day. I hopped on a morning flight. I stumbled across this level 168 Pteranodon, and with one swift arrow, she was knocked out. Whilst waiting, a Carno came out of nowhere and took a nibble on my precious posterior. Luckily, quick thinking is my middle name. Well, actually it's Louise, but let's not get into details. I whipped out my trusty grapple hook and clung to the side of the cliff for safety till it disappeared. I made my way back to my unconscious friend. I was overheating, so of course I had to strip off. I was as naked as a dodo on laundry day. A few moments later, my new PT was all tamed up. I picked a fight with a Rex, and I won, and then took down an Allosaurus for more XP. Whilst engaged in a showdown with a scorpion, a Capro decided to try and ruin my day. I dodged and weaved like a nimble dino dancer, evading its deadly pounce. But he got in a lucky shot. In a panic, I threw out all my dinos, but they came to my rescue. With the danger averted, and my dignity somewhat intact, I swam my way to a nearby green loot drop. And what did I find? A shiny, brand new crossbow! Luck was on my side, and it was time to put my new weapon to the test. The Ark gods must have heard me, as I stumbled across this high-level PT. Channeling my inner Robin Hood, I shot my arrow and brought down another flyer to join the Quack Pack, and raced back home with Jon Snow under the cover of darkness. The next day, adventure called me back to my humble shoebox of a starter base. It was like a cozy little den, except with more dinosaur droppings. As I gathered the loot that I had left behind, I noticed another high-level PT. PT, if you didn't know, stands for Prehistoric Taxi. Obviously, I couldn't resist the urge to tame it. With my top off and farming like a champion, I gathered the resources needed to build gateways and doors. I strategically placed a sleeping bag and set up a trap. All because I spotted a level 174 Argentavis. We played Catch Me If You Can. I lured it into my cleverly crafted trap. Yes, I shamelessly teabagged it and fired arrows until it succumbed to my taming prowess. I went back to my base because I needed to grab some mutton for my slumbering feathered friend, and I flew back to get it all tamed up. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I couldn't resist the call for more loot. Little did I know, fate had a cunning surprise waiting for me in the form of a mischievous pack of Troodons. Quick thinking and some fancy bowler throwing skills allowed me to trap one of the little devils. But as if that wasn't enough excitement, a sneaky scorpion decided to gatecrash our little party. Suddenly, the tables had turned and I found myself involuntarily napping on the ground. Those little rascals had knocked me out cold. Thankfully, my loyal PT came to my rescue. But alas, it was all in vain. The scorpion had proved to be a formidable foe and ended up delivering the final blow, sending me straight to the respawn screen. It was time to retrieve my stuff and wait patiently for daylight. When the glorious morning sun rose, I embarked on a quest to rescue Jon Snow from the clutches of death. Back at base, armed with determination and a saddle for my majestic Argentavis, I made sure to deck it out in the most fashionable club colours. A vibrant purple plumage that screamed, "Look at us, we're fabulous!" I enlisted the help of my trusty Doed, and together we embarked on a stone farming spree. We gathered so much stone that my base practically glowed with sturdiness and power. I placed the final walls, and the sheer joy overwhelmed me to the point of uncontrollable dancing, celebrating like nobody's watching. In my blissful state of achievement, I decided to test the laws of gravity and dismounted my Argentavis mid-air. Yup, you heard that right. It's what my friends affectionately call chucking a duck. Because, well, let's just say it happens more than I'd like to admit. But fear not, I quickly recovered from the embarrassing blunder and remounted my avian friend. We swiftly soared away. My accidental detour took me to the treacherous redwoods, where I stumbled across the Deinonychus. Even though it was a low-level one, I couldn't resist the temptation of snatching its precious egg. I mean, who am I to turn down a good heist opportunity? I continued exploring and stumbled across a blue gemstone jackpot. Of course, I gobbled it all up. In the midst of my adventure, I spotted a tantalizing red drop, calling to me like a siren song of epic loot. My level wasn't quite up to par, so I settled for a pink drop instead, brimming with all sorts of juicy surprises. I found solace in a cozy little cave tunnel where I decided to spend the night pondering the mysteries of chucking a duck airways. Because when life throws you unexpected dismounts, you just have to brush off the shame, mount up, and fly like nothing ever happened. I stumbled upon a tiny kitty companion. Determined to win its affection, I fed it raw meat until it finally surrendered to my irresistible charm. Henceforth, I christened my newfound friend the Great Catsby. I got myself a mining drill from this yellow drop and stalked this injured tech parasaur for some easy electronics. I saw this juicy pink drop, and inside was a shiny new set of armor that made me feel like an invincible superhero of the Arkverse. I set out to create a dino tracker using the precious electronics I had acquired. Unfortunately, the map didn't reveal many blips, but I managed to get the coordinates for a legendary shiny pteranodon. Rumor had it that this majestic creature was hiding somewhere in the redwoods, and much to my disbelief, I was right on its tail. I flew too close to this nightmare, an overspawn from a beehive apparently. As I got close, hundreds of bugs came flying at me. I tried to fight my way out, but they were destroying me, so I had to bail. With the sun dipping below the horizon, I had no time to lick my wounds. My trusty pteranodon alerted me to the presence of a nearby Carno, a savage predator with an appetite for destruction. I took out my tranq darts and aimed for the Carno, hoping to slow it down. The Carno made a run for it, and my PT, bless its little heart, chased after it like a knight on a noble steed. In a moment of madness, I chose to pursue the elusive shiny pteranodon, fueled by my desire for something extraordinary. However, just when I thought I had made the right decision, a heartbreaking message popped up on my screen. Determined not to let my adventure end in disaster, I managed to trap up the shiny dino that had caused all this chaos. With nerves of steel, I knocked it out using my trusty rifle and stood vigil by its side until the sun peeked over the horizon. And this welcomes me into day 10. I was all excited about my brand new PT, and boy did it waste no time. It went straight to work and surprised me with not one, but 2 adorable purple babies. I tamed up a beaver that I named Justin Beaver, and he gave me some serious wood.
What do you mean?
He was also decent at gathering berries and veggies too, and it's time to name my Dodicarus. But why stick to ordinary names? Proudly christened it Doe Edward Cullen, because hey, who says ancient creatures can't have a touch of vampire glamour? I decided to build a ramp leading into the water. Why, may you ask? Well, easy access to fill up my water jars, of course. Gotta stay hydrated. I placed a fabricator and went on a wild adventure to gather a ton of crystal and metal with my brand new mining drill. Why, do you ask? Well, I had a noble mission to construct a kick-ass greenhouse. I'm crushing it in the early game, baby. I set up some crop plots and even a tiny cooking pot. Then I spotted a shiny griffin on my shiny tracker. I hopped on my trusty PT and bravely charged in to get the attention of that shiny dino. But I accidentally attracted its friend too. I managed to lead them both into a trap. But let me tell you, it turned into a bit of a cluster fudge. I took down the friend, but that shiny fella refused to enter the trap. I showered it with arrows, trying to lure it in until finally, success. I spent the rest of the day knocking it out until finally it succumbed. And of course I had to celebrate with a victory teabag. The next morning, a dire bear had spawned, and my buddy Jon Snow took care of it. And guess what? I stumbled upon a lonely bird chilling on the beach. So I tamed it up using some rare flowers, and voila! I had myself a fashionable companion named Chanel. She had purple feathers that matched my killer purple outfit. We were a picture-perfect couple. Finally, after what felt like forever, I successfully tamed my griffin, the first Shiny Dino conquest of my 100 days challenge. Isn't she a beauty? I decided to do some killing, swiped an egg in the redwoods, and completely forgot about the overspawn issue. Suddenly, my game turned into a literal slideshow. Talk about a hot mess. It took ages to escape from that one frame hell. I was planning to stop for a drop, but surprise, surprise, I got attacked by something invisible. So I bolted out of there like a bat out of hell. Back at home, Jon Snow and I defended our base against a shiny strider. I was curious about what it would drop, but turns out it wasn't much. However, I did manage to learn a tetragram. I had a super productive morning, crafting a generator and 2 air conditioners to keep the temperature in check and hatch the eggs that I had borrowed. I even painted some snazzy new fur armor I stumbled upon, looking fly. But let's not forget about Chanel. I equipped her with a helmet and we looked absolutely awesome together. While roaming around, I stumbled upon another shiny creature. It was a megatherium, a jungle megatherium to be precise. That cool looking dude needed to be convinced to join my Quack Pack, so I set up a trap and sweet talked him in. We chatted for a while and eventually he couldn't resist my charm and took a nap just to become an official member of the Quack Pack. By the way, if you would like to join this epic and lucrative club, just check out the links in the description. Join our awesome community on Discord. See you there! I spotted a Rex bullying a shadow cat. I just had to tame that magnificent beast. It looked so freaking cool. So I took out the Rex and tranked the shadow cat while riding my trusty Luna Griffin. While the shadow kitty was taking a nap, I finally gave my griffin a name, Luna Lovegood. The shadow cat looked absolutely insane. Check out those bright stripes. Kinda looks like it glows in the dark. The next day, back at base, I took the shadow cat out to the local woods to gain some XP. It was a close call, but my battle-hardened companion emerged victorious. I went out gathering some more stone so I could make cementing paste and craft a saddle for the Megatherium. Together, we took on a Bronto and a Trike that were trespassing on my land. I fashioned up a snazzy saddle for my feline friend and of course painted it to match our style. I had this brilliant idea of making a chainsaw, but unfortunately I didn't have the resources. Undeterred, I started making the electronics, polymer and cementing paste. Finally, my dream came true. I had my very own chainsaw. Eager to test it out, I went in search of penguins and massacred a bunch of them. Just when I thought my adventures couldn't get any crazier, I stumbled upon a hidden cave entrance. I had to deal with this malfunctioned tech raptor to explore the wonders within. The ruins were stunning, with beautiful blue waters and abandoned bases filled with tech that I couldn't even use. While cruising around, I discovered a secret hidey hole, a massive enclosed area that screamed, "Perfect for my next base," so I marked it on the map for future reference. I also found a lovely body of water where I quickly plopped down a sleeping bag and dove into the depths to collect those precious black pearls. I also found a spot to gather some silica pearls. On my way back home, I couldn't resist stealing another egg. And finally, after gathering all the necessary resources, I built my first teleporter. I waited patiently for the egg to hatch and crafted a reusable glider. As the night fell, I eagerly awaited for my Deinonychus to grow, anticipating the moment I could imprint him. I headed back to the new base, excited to place down the teleporter. And can we just talk about how majestic Cleopatra looks? So regal. I set up a box in the new cave and started transferring my stuff over to rebuild my circular base. Step by step, I laid down the foundations, put up vital structures, and eventually finished all of the walls. This time, I even treated myself to a ceiling. Although it was empty, I danced around in the firelight in celebration. The following morning, I returned to the old house to retrieve the air conditioning units. I set up a soul terminal and a hitching post to start breeding the Deinonychus. I thought the beavers left a dam outside my house as a welcoming present, but turns out I was mistaken. Nevertheless, I claimed the contents for myself. Soon enough, these pesky beavers charged at me, and then took Luna and myself on a quest to find a poop machine for the garden. Let me tell you, I missed an embarrassing number of shots until I finally managed to bring down the target and secure myself a Phiomia. Welcome to your new home, poop machine. In the evening, I ventured into the snowy regions to acquire some penguins for my very own polymer farm. The next day, I tamed another high-level female shadowcat. But unfortunately, I couldn't find a high-level male, so I settled for a lower-level one. But no worries, I'll just breed them together for the best stats. I went in search for a Pelagornis to harvest up the penguins. I took a detour and killed a lungfish for some prime fish meat, and then back at home I crafted a Pelagornis saddle. And thanks to the fruitful penguin population, I had plenty of babies. But alas, their fate was sealed, and I euthanized them while my Pelagornis cleared up the evidence. I even risked my life flying through the treacherous murder snow. Along the way, I discovered a stunning frozen lake. Braving the freezing temperatures was totally worth it, as in the warmer islands, I found a max-level Pachyrhinosaurus. I knocked it out and returned home to prepare the bug repellent for the taming process. Let me tell you, that torpor dropped faster than a toupee in a hurricane. I force-fed the drowsy dino some sleepy drugs and kept a watchful eye on it until he finally tamed. Oh look, more presents from the locals. As night fell, I stocked up on berries to keep myself well supplied. Just another Tuesday, and you know what that means? Heavy metal gathering. My next mission? Build a cave for my soon-to-be visiting friend. Do you need 3 guesses as to who it is? Someone who would steal my bed, so I made them their very own hobbit house. With my newly acquired indie forge, I was ready to hit my heavy metal production like Metallica on steroids. Just as I was getting a kick out of flying Luna the Griffin, I flew too close to the sun, I mean water, and the aquatic equivalent of a mugging took place. I was ambushed by a capro who apparently mistook me for sushi, followed by a gang of piranhas who joined in, assuming I was a free, all-you-can-eat buffet. Well, there's my shower for the week. Deciding it was safer to stay home, I became the Michelangelo of circles. It was the VIP lounge for penguins. Because why not? I heartlessly evicted some babies but couldn't bring myself to boot the purple ones. Not because I'm soft, but because they matched the decor. Then came the Penguin Purge, a tragic event, unless you're a Pelagornis with a polymer craving. After a trip to the local obsidian depot and dealing with some overprotective direwolves with my trusty Luna, I dove in for some high-stakes pearl hunting. Thank the stars for teleporters. They're like a magical Uber, minus the awkward small talk and overpriced rates. Next on my to-do list, electronics. And for that, I need more metal. Enter my favorite power drill that could outperform Tim the Toolman. With my new super efficient forge, we were cooking on gas. Next up, raiding some beaver dams with Cleopatra. After a day that felt like I'd completed the Olympics for resource gathering, I finally had enough to make a chemistry bench. Channeling my inner Indiana Jones, I dusted off an old pump-action shotgun blueprint from the Indy's Last Crusade. The materials needed? cementing paste, and polymer. Luckily for me, I just rigged up a chem bench. Convenient, right? For the polymer, I had a plan. I cobbled together an industrial cooker, slapped down the base, connected the pipes, and voila! My cementing paste was ready. Time to craft my shotgun. I grabbed some nets for my net gun. You never know when you'll have a surprise dino catching party, and whipped up some health potions in my cooker. I discovered these rocks near a giant skeleton. They gave me gems, element shards, and crystal. Time to whack out the mining drill. After stumbling upon a cave, I prepared for potential death by laying out a sleeping bag and gravestone. I was greeted by ravengers inside, and then palovias, polar bears, and yetis. Talk about a party gone wrong. I tried luring them one by one, but they insisted on a group hug. Shotgun time! Just when I thought I'd become Bear Grylls, a palovia pounced. I got knocked off, stunned, and I could do nothing but watch as the Grim Reaper waved hello. Respawning, I brought back Shadowcat, dropped a teleporter, and hightailed it out of there. I crafted myself a sniper rifle, a buttload of ammo, and even put some fancy paint on the weapons because, well, style matters. I fashioned some glow sticks that could be used again and again, painted them a ghostly white, and trotted back to the cave. My buddy Posix, with his weird sense of humour, decided to name my Shadowcat Smelly Cat.
Keep thinking of, did you ever watch, I think it was Friend with Phoebe, and she used to sing about Smelly Cat?
Smelly cat, smelly cat.
It's not your fault.
Brandishing my new sniper like a modern day Rambo, I took down some arthropleuras and snagged some mutagel. Got to the exact spot where I'd flatlined last time, and there they were. The sneaky palovias still lurking. But this time, I had a strategy. I played Indiana Jones with my grapple and tricked them into surfacing. I shot one palovia, and Smelly Cat, living up to her fierce name, took out the second. This tactical dance repeated until the cave was clear. Bingo! The loot drop gave me another even better pump shotgun blueprint. How's that for a jackpot? Venturing further into the abyss, I came across a massive chamber. A couple of palovias awaited their fate as I baited them out and dealt with the other cave monsters. Then I spotted it. The artifact. I made my way to a high ledge and bumped into a third artifact. Surprise, surprise, protected by another palovia. The last artifact had a bear as its bouncer, but nothing could deter me. I took him down and grabbed my treasure. I began my triumphant journey back, only to run into a gang of palovias that had respawned. Great. I tried my trusty trick, but alas, no joy this time. I got stunned, a harsh buzzkill to my victorious melody, and thus my epic, thrilling, and slightly embarrassing cave adventure came to a rather abrupt halt. I whipped up a batch of psychedelic dye in my cooker. I laid a trap around this big cuddle bug, after I knocked him out, of course. Why? Because I was off to rob some bees of their sugary gold. Racing against the clock, I began my grand honey heist, trying to tame this snoozing giant before it woke up. The great bee hunt was on. My new Megatherium buddy was tamed. Next up, I tamed a Bronto, who was more like a living, breathing tree. Feeling like Picasso, with a sudden surge of berries turned art supplies, I painted away all my post-beehive sting pain. I even gifted my friend a colourful banner, a landmark for her home. Having tamed up a somewhat underwhelming male Rex, my OBS decided to crash, and it swallowed up the footage of me taming his lovely low-level lady friend. However, I tossed them out like a couple on a blind date, let the egg production commence. Amidst the chaos, I turned into the Jamie Oliver of the dinosaur world, crafting some magnificent sweet vegetable cakes and convincing a pair of ovis to join the Quack Pack. Suddenly, a spicy snow leopard crosses my path, the feline version of a jalapeno. It was love at first net gun. After lovingly shooting him with some arrows, I put him to sleep quicker than a lecture on quantum physics. All the while, my trusty Smelly Cat kept a pesky acro from crashing our slumber party. Once our spicy feline awoke, I paraded him home, made an upgraded, custom-painted saddle, a stroll over the icy lake, and wham! A red glowing alpha mosa. More terrifying than my mum when she's mad. I knocked out of there faster than a snail on a veggie cake. Speaking of which, I went home, baked some more cakes, and knocked out 2 slime balls who were way too happy to munch on my delicious cakes. I eventually stumbled upon a low-level Bronto, who despite having a booping buddy was no match for my tranks. Back home, I found a surprise guest, a high-level Daedon. But hey, you wander into my yard, you become part of my weird prehistoric family. When I discovered a massacre of baby Ovis, I realized I hadn't set up my soul terminal to collect the babies. Grim work ahead, so I revved up my chainsaw and played cleanup. I ended the day with placing a terminal and throwing out the post-sugar crash snails, eagerly awaiting their love story to begin. I finally had an aqua epiphany. It was time for a H2O rodeo. I found a Kronosaurus, sounds like a dinosaur's law firm, a Bassie, a Shonysaurus. I slipped on my scuba gear, my only prayer being that these undersea monsters would be less grumpy than they looked. I approached slowly, kibble in hand like a dubious peace offering to these leviathans. As the waiting game started, a green horse came trotting by. It took me a hot minute to tame up the green sea pony, but in the end, we had a bond stronger than a barnacle on a ship's hull. While chilling by a crackling campfire, the moment finally came. My friendly sea giraffe was ready to join my merry band of deep-sea desperados. So I kicked back and toasted some s'mores till sunrise, ready to face another day. I got home to a bunch of snail babies to raise and decided to take my new water friend for a test spin. It didn't gather anything underwater, and it wasn't that fast either. I was kinda hoping it did some good damage, so I tested that theory with a capro. I was wrong. Not only did it do rubbish damage, its incredibly long neck made it super difficult to aim. I couldn't do any damage if I couldn't hit the bloody target. Safe to say, I was underwhelmed with this thing and never used it again. Spicy Jon Snow and I killed an enraged Anki and got some nice levels. Back in the water, I started taming the shiny dolphin. As I followed him to the depths, I got duck-napped by this Surfactinus. All I could see was its terrifying teeth. I took out a pike to start stabbing it back. I managed to get free, but not for long. It chased me down and I was fish food. Things were starting to feel a little bit cramped back in my little base, so I placed down some more foundation and slapped up some more walls to enclose me in. I made some tranquilizer spears, and what do I find? A shiny berry. Sneaky little thing whirled around and stunned me, shattering my couture armor like a cheap vase. But hey, my magic net came to the rescue, and before you know it, the berry was tamed. With the berry by my side, I fancied a little swim in the ocean. Lo and behold, Jaws himself was there, swimming around like a torpedo. But hey, the Barry and I have got this, right? Well, not exactly. Jaws fancied my Barry for a snack. That's when my buddy Kay chimed in with,
Net it. I got my Barry. Oh no!
While Jaws was taking a knockout nap, I decided to add an anglerfish to my aquatic menagerie. I must have ticked off its friends because suddenly they all came at me. A Leopleurodon had the audacity to use me for a game of aquatic pinball. With my newly acquired angler, I collected a bunch of shiny pearls and saddled up the great white. How freaking awesome. My buddy Kay traipsed over to my place for a casual visit with her pet leopard, Snow Ann. We decided to do a bit of spelunking and descended into
3,
the unknown.
2, 1, go.
I had glow sticks ready to illuminate our path.
Yeah, buddy.
We took out our snow leopards. We were swarmed by leeches. Yuck!
It's so disgusting.
We strutted down the narrow cave halls, pausing every now and then to take shots at the Arthropleuras just to save our armor from disrepair. Next up, we met some Megalanias. And what do? We exterminate them for their toxin. Jon Snow, the loyal leopard, got a dose of rabies in the process. We found and tamed a shiny frog. Together, we battled the cave dinos until we ran into our first artifact. I snatched it up, and we continued till we ran into a second artifact. Some more sniping, and it wasn't long before we found the third artifact. We explored the cave some more, battling all kinds of cave creatures before finally teleporting back home. Meanwhile, Kay went off to be, well, Kay. Who knows where she went? but I played the big game hunter, netting and taking down this enraged mammoth for XP and tech goodies. Nearby, I stumbled upon a Shiny Dinos. We need a healer for the Quack Pack army. Oh, and Kay managed to tame a jungle yeti. While we were in the spirit of adventuring, I pulled Kay into another cave, where a humongous monkey statue met us. We beat our way through the cave, dispatched a horde of nightmare-fueled bloodstalkers, and I mean there were a ton of these creepy things guarding the artifact.
Kay, help, Kay.
Oh my god! I'm coming!
It's okay, it didn't get me.
So don't say I didn't warn you. We found ourselves in a spider's den that would make Aragog proud. We found 3 more artifacts, and even unlocked some fancy tech leg armor from a shiny bloodstalker. My first boss on this map would be the Broodmother, so I thought it would be smart to tame some more Megatheriums, which are basically just giant sloths on insect steroids. Whilst I was running around, I bumped into this rainbow one. I ran into a cranky bunch of ice worms. No worries, my spicy Jon Snow made quick work of them. A gang of direwolves tried to get in on the action. One shiny wolf caught my eye. After a net, a chase, and a few tranks, and some heart-stopping moments, I added a shiny, ferocious guard dog to my team. I tamed a shiny Argy and squished this shiny beaver near my base for some XP, and then topped up on some kibble supply. I named her Chardonnay and upgraded her saddle to the team colours. Straddling my trusty Barry, I embarked on a quest to find a Bassie to tackle the notorious water cave, when I encountered something that would make Aquaman wet his pants. Alpha Tusos. I tried to glide around the edge, channeling my inner Finding Nemo, when out of nowhere, its tentacles shot out like an overly excited octopus at a sushi convention. Suddenly, I was wrapped up tighter than a takeout burrito, my health dropping faster than my jaw at the sight of these underwater nightmares. As my life flashed before my eyes, the tentacle terror let me go. It must have realized I wasn't its usual squid and chips. With my heart in my throat and my dignity trailing behind, I thanked the Ark gods as I swam for my life. And the Tusos? They just watched me wriggle away, probably thinking, that's the weirdest squid we've ever seen. As if risking my life in the water wasn't enough, I decided to risk my life in the skies, and I went to the wyverns. I killed my first ice wyvern just by the entrance. I was killing a second one when an enraged wyvern appeared out of nowhere. During the chase, I spotted a shiny poison egg. Somehow, the enraged lost interest in me, and I had a small window to fly down and steal the egg. Then it was a race to get out of there before the wyverns got me. I did a little bit of dancing to help my new wyvern egg hatch up. I spent the whole day at home to get all the imprints on this wyvern that for some reason I named Frog. But I also hatched up a Deinonychus from my breeding line. It only had a couple of mutations into melee, but I named her Peaches. As soon as Frog was fully grown, we went out for our maiden flight. At first, I thought this was a glitch, but I thought I should go investigate just in case it was a cave. I jumped into the water with my Barry. We swam with nothing in sight until a ruin appeared in front of us. I swam towards it, but suddenly we fell. We were in a little air pocket. My Barry barely survived, however this was a rich loot crate, so I placed down a teleporter so I could come back to farm this. During a stroll in the redwoods, we found a shiny Deinonychus. I chased after it for its egg for the entire day. It felt like some twisted version of an Easter egg hunt. I found it though, snatched it up and went home to add a bit of sparkle to my Deinonychus breeding program. Then we stumbled across a shiny Theri, and a fabulous purple one at that. Like destiny calling, I used my net gun and shocking trank darts. The critter tried to escape, but was no match for my excellent tracking skills. Night turned to day, and finally, the shiny purple beast was all mine. We bobbed around in the water feeding our new buddy until it earned its membership into the prestigious Quack Pack. We took our new sea sausage for a test drive, and wouldn't you know it, an Alpha Tuso. But first, I killed this mosasaur to level up. I found this suspicious crevice underwater, and although I took a peek with a Bassie, it seemed like a dead end. No foreshadowing intended, but maybe I need some new glasses. But first, revenge was calling, so I doubled back to take on the Tuso who dared to cross paths with my Barry. But oops, my bad, It wasn't the original menace, it was an even bigger level 174 beast. Well, no guts, no glory, right? I spent the whole day fighting it. My mouse might sue me for clicker abuse. My poor Bassie was battered, so we surfaced for a breather, letting Bruce take over. All seemed fine until the Chuso claimed Bruce as its mid-battle snack. A tearful retreat was in order. After healing up the Bassie and regrouping, we launched a second assault. Inked, chased, and finally, payback. Talk about a wild Tuesday. I was ramping up to fight the first boss, the Alpha Broodmother, so I went to check what I needed. More Argitalons, some Sarco skins, Sauropod vertebra, and Titanoboa venom. I took down some Brontos to get the vertebra, but stumbled across this lonely, shiny Megatherium. So I sent him an invite to join the club. As he was sleeping, I found myself another owl friend. I spent the next few days farming all the apex drops needed for the Broodmother, only stopping to tame some shinies, like this mammoth, and this awesome frozen looking Rex. I googled it, and the frozen creatures take reduced damage from everything except fire, so I must have it. I netted a snow owl whilst I was here too, so I could heal my dinos on the go, or when I pump a bunch of levels into their health. So here I was, armed with my hodgepodge team of shiny dinos, ready to take on the Alpha Broodmother. Kay joined me and we headed over to the terminal. We threw out all the dinos, hyped ourselves up, but then, disaster. There was a bug where the terminals didn't work on this map. I was frustrated. I picked up all my dinos and did some emoting with Kay to get me through this tough time. I was super bummed out that the boss terminal wasn't working, so I was flying around whilst trying to figure out what to do. I spotted this high-level shiny egg and thought that it would be my compensation for the disappointment. I checked on the colours for my snow leopards and hatched up my new little electric friend. Look how beautiful my leopard is. I named her Nicki Minaj. I took a trip to the underwater loot drop twice. Okay, 3 times. My collection is building up nicely. Then I took out some frustration on enraged dinos, giving me and my chibi some levels, and also unlocking some more tech items. I tamed up a shiny Thyla, my favourite dino in the entire game, and I named him Thyla the Creator. And then I continued on my enraged killing spree. So the solution to this problem, or the only thing that I could think of, was to take myself and Kay on holiday. So we headed over to the island. We put on our fancy bikinis and danced in the sun. There was no time for sunbathing though, as we had a mission. So off we went to the obelisk and out came our dinos. Not your typical boss fighting team, but they are all shinies and that is what the challenge is. I didn't realise that the snow leopards couldn't come. So when we arrived into the Broodmother's lair, I did not have my trusty steed. The Broodmother wasted no time and charged on us. I ran after a Yeti, but it was too late. The Broodmother absolutely annihilated me. Luckily for me, Kay held down the fort whilst I went back to retrieve my stuff. You are now watching K-Cam. I was in such a rush to get back, I teleported to Kay and cheated the system. I was able to get into the boss arena on my snow leopard, and I jumped right into the action. I joined just as the Daedon died. The Megatheriums were doing some good damage, and with Kay constantly keeping them roared up, it was looking good. As we got to the end of our battle, I looked around and couldn't help but feel lonely, as I noticed a lot of my comrades had fallen. But finally, the great 8-legged beast fell.
You did it!
We unlocked some techgrams and it gave me that sweet, sweet element. The time came to leave and we journeyed back to my base on Antarctica. Kay and I did a final victory dance together before she headed back to her little base to log out. After the battle, I scooped up the lunar Smilodon, netted him at base and tamed him up. My god, I was not expecting this. My new little purple friend had a special jumping superpower.
Oh god.
I had some fun jumping around some islands and launching myself off of a tree platform. It was time to rebuild my army. And for the next few days, I tamed myself up some new shiny friends. A holographic Carno, a Sherwood Dire Bear, a Mammoth, and a new Yeti. But my favourite by far was this Rubber Rex. I knocked him down and left him to tame up. As I was leaving base, something caught my eye. A taser yeti. I got to work setting up a trap and helped it finish off a brachy. Then it was a simple case of luring it in. And I guess this is why it's called a taser yeti. I got stunned, and after beating off a snow leopard, it was time to bring this beast down. I had the perfect name for this awesome dino. Welcome to the Quack Pack, Buzz. Together, we slaughtered some dinos. Buzz was quickly becoming my favorite. He would occasionally stun dinos while I was fighting. I will definitely be riding Buzz into the next boss battle. Remember that Rubber Rex? I got him all tamed up and I named him Durex. Get it? Because he's a rubber and a Rex. Made me laugh. We did some leveling and I had to test it. Would he bounce if I yeeted myself off a cliff? Only one way to find out. Let's just have a little replay on that sound though. Managed to add another frozen Rex to the army. Then Buzz and I headed to the corrupted area of the map to farm some XP for the upcoming boss fight. I got out all my boss fighters to spend any level up points that they had acquired and healed them up with my Snow Owl Mercy. Captain Reptile had come to join me and named my newest Rex Frosty the Snow Rex. He then took pleasure in riding Durex off the top of the cliff to experience the bounce. And of course, I had to have a turn too. By the morning, Captain returned with his own shiny dinos, his favourite dino, the Amargasaurus, and his giant gothic rubber woolly brachy. Love the colours. Then it was time to take Captain and our army over to the island. I was bikini ready, but this time it was over to the snow. With my mismatched hodgepodge boss fighting army, we entered the lair of the overgrown Alpha Harambe. It was a bit of a clusterfudge and I couldn't move. But no matter, the angry Monke came to us.
Back.
I'm stuck.
Not ideal, but we made it work.
So far, so good. He's already down a quarter.
He is already down a quarter with this random hodgepodge mix.
Hodgepodge of bullshit.
Yeah.
All my shiny dinos got stuck in.
It's like halfway. This isn't so bad. Okay. I think we're gonna do it. We haven't lost anyone yet.
Oh, Pluto, where you going? Pluto's gonna die.
Pluto's going back home.
Chipped away at the Megapithecus until he went down. Hey, we did it! And what's more, not a single loss. Although poor Pluto came close. Look how bloody he is. No rest for the wicked, as I went straight back to Antarctica to see what I needed to summon the Alpha Dragon. As I was in the ocean killing bassies for the blubber, I found this crevice again. This time I did a more thorough inspection and I found a gap at the very top. As I peered over the edge, I found an artifact guarded by jellyfish. So I cleared them out and grabbed the goodies. My sea wiener got fat shamed by another crevice, so I balled him up and swam it solo. When I came to another artifact. These things travel in threes, right? I saw some piranhas ahead, so sea wiener came back out. Just as well, because there was a carcanos lurking just around the corner. I battled some more jellies and eels and found a third artifact. I fought off a bunch of ammonites and Eurypterids as I tried to find my way back out. But instead, I ran into another artifact. I spent the next few days gathering the apex drops needed. I ran into this trio of shiny mammoths. Of course, I tamed them all. Then Jolteon and I took flight to find the last allo brain we needed. I named the mammoth trio Huey, Dewey, and Louie, as suggested by channel member Posix. Kay found Captain's little base and proceeded to let him know how she feels about his little shack.
Mine's bigger.
Size doesn't matter, Kay.
I know what you're talking about. I can't lay on his bed with him. That's so rude. Punching.
Then it was time for Kay and I to once again go on holiday. I got into my bikini and tribed up with Kay as the sun was setting.
I see you.
Hello.
Over at the Red Op, I once again threw out my dinos. Kay was undecided between Durex and Firecrotch.
Oh, crotch. Wow. Durex? You're gonna save the day, buddy.
He's going to provide the protection.
Kay's got a fire crotch.
Yes, she does.
That could be your thing. Write in the comments, Kay's got a fire crutch.
Well, you heard it here from the woman herself. If you have made it this far, write Kay has a fire crotch in the comments below. Let's see how many people we can confuse. We were stuck inside all the dinos.
Oh, goddamn. I'm stuck.
But no matter,
Oh.
the dragon came to us.
Oh.
I roared like I had never roared before, whilst fending off the Dimorph minions.
Oh, let's go.
Okay, everybody get in.
Kay was leading the pack,
Let's go, let's go.
riding Durex into battle.
I'm roaring.
To the roar.
And we had some good damage numbers going.
Oh, who's doing that damage?
But then,
Oh.
the army began to crack. Megatherium down. We lost some soldiers. Oh, Ruby Rose. Things
no.
were looking dicey.
Oh, fire crotch, booger.
Booga!
It was all hands on deck.
Oh, Greg Leon.
We battled on, slowly dropping the dragon's health.
We can do it.
Oh, I don't know. We're not even halfway.
Me and you, keep us roared. We're getting there.
Slowly.
It's like, what, a third, maybe?
Around.
Almost?
It was just the 3 mammoths Kay and I left. Ouch, Charlie.
Charlie, that really hurt.
Until, no, Huey. The worst happened. The triplets started to die one by one.
Oh, Louie.
Oh, there's only Dewey. Oh no.
It was just us, and the dragon was so low. I took a back seat and took some pot shots with my sniper to try and help Kay without risking Buzz, as his health was starting to get low. After what felt like forever, and the closest battle yet, I jumped into action as the dragon had a slither of health left until finally...
I'm coming in.
Die, 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 die. Yes!
Hey.
I made a tech replicator and headed out with Kay, who found a shiny rhino.
We're fine. No, we're not. Oh, you idiot.
Ah, my knight in shining armor.
I'm coming. I'm useless.
You really are.
It was a radioactive rhino, so I got radiated when I went near it, and then Kay decided she would like to tame a shiny Gigantopithecus. He just pooped.
Pick it up.
No, Kay, don't pick it up.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other diners can't deny. It's straight up there.
You are right up his asshole.
Uh-huh. It's where I like it.
Oh. You hear that, guys?
Love me. Come on. Eat, you fucker. There.
And I tamed a holographic beaver and named it Posix 2.0. I recruited a frozen trike to the gang and had a few minutes of bouncy fun with a shiny mountain goat. An albino Spino got himself stuck, so I tamed him up too. I built Captain Fat Dog's Karkanos trap, but I couldn't quite trap it, so I resorted to a net gun and smashing boulders in its face while it was pinned down. I then danced in its face to help it tame up, got a second frozen crab, and Kay named them.
You got 2 crabs, STD and gonorrhea.
And with that, off we went to Scorched Earth. We munched through some Dinotheriums to make our way to the Green Orb. Threw out my misfit army and headed straight into battle. I got everyone roared up. I whistled them all in, and a death one came for my booty. The manticore tried to poison me. I literally shat myself and ran away. He wouldn't stop me from roaring up my army. Slow and steady was winning. We soon had him halfway. I got in a few chomps before he sent some more deathworms after me. He was coming after me, but I just kept looping him. As the manticore approached defeat, he sent in his last line of defense, the rock golems. Then he landed for the final time, and we gave it everything we had.
He's so close. Oh my god.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Another successful mission.
You did it!
Oh, thank God for that.
Oh my god.
Back on Antarctica, I had a quick look to see what was needed for the final boss, before taming a healer for the army, a shiny tiger Daedon. I farmed up the corrupted hearts I needed and then crafted some shocking trank darts, because whilst I still had my frozen Rexes, the rest of the army fell to the manticore. I found a shiny Stego, so got that tamed up, and I built myself a trap because I found some lover Megatheriums. No idea what they actually do, but I thought the final boss is open world, so no limit on tames. It couldn't hurt, right? Once I actually got them in the trap, that was. I danced to help them tame, and I saw something under the frozen lake. There must be a way in there, as there are dinos under there. Future duck's problem. Now don't laugh at me, but I built a trap to tame something I've never tamed before. A frozen acro. I led it into the trap, and I didn't realise he wouldn't do the thing, so I very nearly killed him. I decided to heal him with my snow owl before destroying the trap and setting him free. I was panicking like crazy, running all over the show, taking pot shots, but he still wasn't doing that damn shoulder thing. Eventually, he managed to get me. I got myself a cute baby megatherium to make myself feel better, and then headed back out there. This time, I placed a bed and a gravestone. Round 2, and I couldn't get the acro to do the thing again. Another chomp, and I was duck soup. The first feed I managed to get. Another attempt, and death. I was determined not to give up though. I thought on this attempt I was getting somewhere, but I messed up the feed and the acro punished me for it. So I crafted up a tech rifle, and this was the game changer. Slowly but surely, I launched myself into the acro's mouth, feeding it drugs, until finally he had had enough and was knocked out. My first acro tame, and it was torture. I finally found a way under the ice, right by the waterfall. With my modded tech gun that could shoot underwater, I swam around the maze, killing everything that came for me. And it was mainly basilisks. My health was dropping as I was slowly freezing to death. I turned the corner and there lied the last artifact. I snatched it up and swam for my life, and I got out just in time to gobble down some health potions. Tamed a couple of shiny Spinos for the army before heading home to get myself some booze, because I wanted to tame this burning Dinotherium, and that was another first for me. I thought I understood the signals. The first feed went great. I swam to him and he gobbled up the booze. The second time, I thought he gave me the thumbs up, but as I got closer, he stomped on my head and chased me. These things are speedy. I placed down a gravestone and a bed. He told me I couldn't approach, so I ran. Then a Barry rudely interrupted us before another failed attempt. But I was determined and I finally got in a second glass of beer. I was waiting a while, but it eventually gave me a happy flappy ear, and I approached. It grabbed the beer out my hands and we solidified our friendship. Back at base, Kay joined me and destroyed some souls to give the Dinotherium some last minute levels, because day 100 was right around the corner.
Oh, you don't want them?
No.
Murderer. You left me alone for too long.
So I teleported to see what she was up to. I helped her trank out this last minute warrior. Oh, a theory. Okay. Then Kay decided to take me on a side mission. Oh my god, this mountain is so high.
It really is. I don't know if I thought this through properly.
I lost her after climbing and then falling from this huge mountain before reappearing after breaking her snow leopard.
I'm here!
Oh my god, what are you doing?
Help me!
What are you doing? Oh, you're butt sliding. You were butt sliding. We yeeted into the cave. What was Kay's side quest? She wanted me to have babies. I gave birth to the little xenomorph. He was actually quite cute.
We're going back in?
And off we went to do exactly that. I watched the insemination process and Kay was dancing right up until she gave birth. We had a quick look at the babies before heading over to Extinction for our final holiday. We located the Ice Titan spawn, and once again I threw out my hodgepodge shiny army. It was quite an impressive sight seeing everyone all standing side by side for the final battle. All that was left was to make our way through the ice cave to get to the terminal. Greeted by lots of direwolves and polar bears, I may have died once. Maybe twice. No, maybe. Oh!
Where are you?
Help.
Oh, God.
And there were 2 of them. Okay, 3 times. It's a bridge. Oh!
Oh, my
The
God.
Fuck did that come from?
Oh. Oh, God. Oh,
Uh,
again? Oh, my God.
I grabbed the artifact and finally we arrived at the terminal. I spawned in, mounted Buzz and charged in to see my army just stood around. The Ice Titan hammer-fisted on their heads. Everybody get in. So I whistled neutral and they all piled in.
Oh, my God. It's huge.
Captain's Bracky did a nice amount of damage, but the Titan was also dealing a lot of damage. I was frozen. I'm frozen.
It's all right.
I'm frozen.
You're doing well.
I'm frozen. Oh no. The Daedon died. Halfway and some more
God.
fallen soldiers.
Oh, poopy head.
Uh-oh. Budgie Smuggler.
Oh.
All I could do was to keep roaring as we chipped away at its health. We had some casualties, but we were also going good. The Titan was getting bloody. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Come on, I'll keep you roared up, guys. Eee, I'm frozen. We kept going until finally 3, 2, 1.
Easy.
Suck it, Ice Titan. They did it.
Yay.
Oh my god. From the absolute depths of my heart, if you have made it this far in the video, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Here is to more adventures, and I really hope to see you in the next chapter.